Now that you know the basics of communication, in this class we will talk more about how to successfully communicate for cancer prevention. We all wish for a world free of cancer, but cancer prevention is not about wishes, it is about choices. The choices we make every day in our diet and lifestyle, what we eat, how active we are, drinking alcohol or not, they all have an influence on our cancer risk. Communication influences choices. That's why communication is important for cancer prevention. Many people still do not follow the recommendations for cancer prevention as set by World Cancer Research Fund. That is a missed opportunity. By following the recommendations, people give themselves the best chance of leading a life without cancer. We want people to follow the recommendations to protect themselves to lower their risk of developing cancer. Through communication, we can influence the behavior of people, but we can't change people's behavior for them. We can only influence, but that influence can be powerful if we communicate effectively. So, how do we do this? How can we influence people's choice? There are several theoretical methods or models that try to explain how people behave. One of these models is called the high involvement hierarchy. Depending on the level of involvement in a certain behavior, people go through different orders of the following phases: knowledge, attitude, and behavior or behavioral intention. The way they go through these phases depends on the level of involvement in a certain behavior. Communication is always aimed at influencing the knowledge, attitude, and or behavior of people. When you identify a problem that you want to address with communication, you need to find out which of these areas you have to influence. What the right communication strategy is will depend on the area where improvement is most needed. One of my teacher had the opinion that it is impossible to address all three areas at once. The best thing is to have a main focus. We have to pick our battles. So, first we need to know why people do not show the desired behavior. Is it a problem in the area of knowledge, attitude, or is there anything else holding the desired behavior back? Through research, we can get insight into which areas require us to take action. Then we can address that problem with the right communication strategy. Let's make everything more practical with an example in light of cancer prevention. Imagine that our goal is to help stimulate the consumption of whole grains foods instead of highly refined grain products. Please bear in mind that the following is just an example to illustrate what I have been telling you. Let's first look at knowledge. Perhaps people are not aware that eating whole grain products and other foods rich in dietary fiber can help them reduce the risk of colorectal cancer. If that is the case, in our communication efforts, we could focus on creating awareness through a multimedia campaign. We can also inform them and provide them with practical advice with the help of a brochure. The goal is to make people smarter about whole grains and their health benefits. Now, what if the problem is in the area of attitude? Imagine that people are aware of the benefits of eating whole grain foods, but that the problem is in their attitude towards these foods. Perhaps people find them less appealing than refined grain products due to the difference in color, texture, or taste. In that case, the best approach is to target these opinions and feelings about whole grain products. Perhaps the solution is to use imaginary of delicious recipes with whole grain ingredients or linking attractive models with whole grains. Finally, the problem could be in the area of behavior or behavioral intention. Perhaps people already are in the know about the benefits of whole grains and they are open to the idea of choosing them instead of refined grain products. But they still do not take the final step. The problem may be something very practical, preventing people from showing the desired behavior. The whole grain version of a product is more expensive, or there are no whole grain options in the company canteen, or people have difficulty in identifying the whole grain version of a product in a store. In such a case, you have to address that practical barrier if you want any hope of changing the behavior. This is when influencing policies through lobby to address those barriers is something you have to consider. You could, for example, focus on the food industry and supermarkets to increase the supply of whole grain products. In summary, we can work towards people adopting, changing, quitting, or maintaining behaviors that can affect the chance of developing cancer by choosing the right communication strategy. Communication is not foolproof, but effective communication can go a long way in influencing the behavior of people. So please use communication to help people lower their risk of developing cancer. Thank you.